Well, webheads, it's finally here. The next installment from Insomniac Games and the web-slinging franchise, Spider-Man 2. So we got all tangled up in the intricate gameplay and story for sure. But more importantly, we got trapped by photo mode. I shudder to think of what this game would have been without the ability to capture some of the greatest moments in this continued story. So as this intro peters out, pour some Jonah Jamesons in a short glass, light up some MJ, and get ready for the carnage and venom that will spill out of our mouths as we discuss the newest edition of the web crawling series and the ever enticing world of gaming photography with our guest from miles away, FirstPersonShutter, also known as Kane. So Kane, thank you for joining us on the podcast tonight and suffering through that amazing intro.
You're welcome.
Man, I thought it was awesome. I'm like, man, that set the bar. I'm like feeling bad now that I didn't come like with pre-native stuff. That was great.
I would be remiss to say that this episode is entitled Spider-Man 2 Be Continued, according to Daryl.
Nice.
So obviously you are our guest here tonight. Welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. It is
thanks for having me, guys.
I gotta say you've been on Jordan's radar to have on the show for a while, actually.
He's your biggest fan.
It's been in the works, and awesome. He's a big.
Sure, make me sound like a fucking creeper, guys.
I mean,
yeah. I've had some messages.
What is Instagram?
I've had some messages that have said.
Oh, all right. Who would have thought that in-game photography would be such a?
It's got its very devoted crowd.
Can only imagine.
So, I got it. Like, how did this all start? Because it seems like a very niche thing, but a lot of games have started to sort of lean that way, and including a photo mode. How did you start FirstPersonShutter as an Instagram account and a brand, I guess?
Yeah, so admittedly, this was sort of, it's kind of, I don't know, I feel like there's like two separate origin stories that kind of converge with this one. But like, I would say originally, I had always kind of played around with the photo modes, like going way back. Like I actually remember, and I can't remember which one came first. It was Halo Reach or Call of Duty Black Ops like 1, whichever one that one, maybe 2. But they both had a theater mode. And it wasn't even called photo mode at the time. It was just theater mode. And they would just record all your multiplayer games. And then you could jump in and like swing around and with the camera and pause the action. I remember taking screenshots that went nowhere because it would just save to your Xbox 360. I really, before I jumped on here, I tried to see if I could somehow track it down. But I think my Xbox like did the red ring of death. So it's gone. So. But that was always kind of like my intro into seeing like, man, I kind of dig this. And then it actually worked out to where my daytime job, which kind of involves in like data and analytics and things like that. We had the opportunity to kind of play around with some like social media features and like some like strategies. And I was like, well, I got this, like the only thing I'm good at apparently is this like photo mode. And so I was like, we'll just see if like maybe that can turn into something. And then it really did like morph into this just awesome creative outlet for me. And then anytime I could take pictures in the game, I'd post it out there, and then it just like took off. I had no idea it would take off as much as it did. And then I started running into these other accounts on Instagram. Like I think like Fire Scorpio was out there at a time. There's like Spider-Man Shots is out there. These huge accounts that were already making names and like getting articles in the Washington Post and things like that. And I just was like, man, this is actually like a thing. And then it kind of just took off from there. And then every game just progressively, I feel like every year they keep beefing up the photo modes and really like committing to like making them like work. And then it just kind of spiraled from there. But it's been awesome. It's been one of my, it's not really, I mean, it's not like a job or anything, but it's an awesome hobby. I mean, I tell everyone that reaches out to me that says anything about like getting into it, I'm like, if you like photography at all and you can't afford the lenses or like having to, if you're like, it's like you're not going to jump out and, find the golden hour in the morning or like go in the golden hour in the evening or, switch out have all the equipment ready to go. It really is kind of a cool thing for photographers to do photography without doing photography.
I mean,
That's kind of
sorry.
Cal.
Damn it, Jordan.
Go.
I mean, with games too, you have a readily accessible lineup of models that you can place any way you like too. So I feel like that's a very big like entry point for a lot of people. And like you said, lenses are expensive as shit now.
Well, anything photography is expensive.
Yeah.
I attempted to get into real photography, and I think I bought one lens that was like the intro telephoto lens, and it just cleaned my bank account out. And I was like, well, and then I wasn't really good at it either. So,
right. Yeah. And to your point, I mean, it's amazing how much it's improved in a short amount of time. I mean, now you've got developers that are hiring, game devs specifically based on their experience with photo modes in games, and like we'll get into more of it with Insomniac and Spider-Man, but like they would be, I would assume, one of the best out there as far as dedicating time and money into what a photo mode can actually be. And it's like 10 years ago, I mean, that wouldn't even have been a thought, I don't think, for a lot of developers.
No, I think maybe Assassin's Creed had a few with some of the earlier games. I know Origins had a pretty decent one. But they're kind of bare bones. But then Insomniac shows up and gives you a light mode and gives you the ability to change the backgrounds, like in that Ratchet and Clank game. And man, they really committed, and it was great. And then PlayStation in general, honestly, like they really do share those captures of the week. They really, they embraced it. I mean, it's free marketing. I mean, that's kind of where I see it. But absolutely, it's been awesome to see the community just like explode. It's just in the last couple of years since I started.
So when you do this stuff, is everything you like? Obviously, you can cut and stuff like that. But do you do absolutely everything in the game, or are you also like post-processing, like Photoshop or any of the other systems? Like, is that something you're doing on top of this, or is this truly like pure in-game photography?
So it's kind of funny because especially with the Spider-Man games, I do almost zero post-editing.
Wow. Okay.
But with some of the other games, like there's some of the lighting is not as easy to control, or it's generally just not as good. Those games I'll usually jump into like just something easy like Snapseed, just like beef up the light mode, or I'll bring in the contrast, maybe like change the colors around a little bit, like the white balance. But really, the Spider-Man games, like I would say like 90% of that is all just straight out of the game. The lighting, like the improvements with the PlayStation 5 and the lighting and being able to like the ray tracing. I mean, it's just like, well, that's now the game. It just looks awesome.
Yeah.
So obviously like Spider-Man 2 being the main one to the front, but what was the one that really sort of got you into like photography mode? Aside from, I know you talked about your early experiences with, Black Ops and the theater mode. What was the one that was sort of like your aha, sort of moment that way?
Yeah, I think Assassin's Creed Origins. So when I first jumped into that photo mode, when you start taking pictures, I realized that there were they would put spots on the map where other people had taken photos. And I'm like, well, I had no idea that there were other people doing. I thought I was the only weirdo that was like out there doing it. And then I start seeing all the photos that they're putting out on the map. And then I go to like the library and I'm like, this is insane. These people are like awesome. And that's where it just like blew up. And then I think my very first photo that I posted was actually from the first God of War.
Okay.
And so that was just me playing around with some of the environments and like some of the like landscapes and stuff. But that was like the first like kind of post. But as far as like getting into the photo mode, I think I like tried to get like featured in like their showcase gallery or something like that. But really, that was the one moment where I realized there was a whole community around it. And man, I wish I could remember who it was, but I did see somebody had been featured in the Washington Post for like the new version of photography, and it was the God of War photos. And I'm like, man, this guy is like, it's like looking at war photography. I mean, you could just see like all the emotion and like, I guess that's kind of what it is. Like you're playing it and then you just see like these moments that you're just like, it just sticks with you, but then you can like pause it and grab it. And then it's just kind of with you,
Well, I think that, you mentioning that moment, like to be able to capture those emotional kind of beats in games and to be able to revisit those. Like for me, I think probably mine was Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh yeah,
like
Good
that
one.
photo mode is spectacular. But then also that was like the first time where I really dove in and started to tinker around with things. And now, I mean, given knowing not a goddamn thing about what I'm doing, I have no idea all the settings. But I like this is just so much fun to do. And you know, I'm getting some photos that aren't half bad. And so that to me, that was like oh shit, like I'm going to spend a good amount of my time in games just with photo mode. And
it gives you instantly like days extra content to just play around with. Like it's almost like DLC.
Yeah.
Ghost was actually, I feel like that might have been the first time I had like the realization that developers were getting serious about photo mode, because you could change the time of day, you could change like the particle effects that were flying around behind your character. You could change the different, they had really good filters and contrast settings. And I'm like, man, they're actually like really wanting us to do this. And I feel bad because I don't know that I didn't follow this creator, but I remember them showcasing Ghost for the first time, and they like had a whole video series about the photo mode. And I remember flipping out, but then someone out there was like, no one cares about the photo mode. I don't know why they're wasting their time on this. And I'm like, no, you have no idea. Like, you have no idea. There's like a massive community out there. And so like, yeah, I feel like it's probably picked up steam since then, but
you know that really cool background on your computer or your phone. Where do you think that came from?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right there. Yeah.
I made that.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be me right there. Yep.
So going away a little bit, I want to know about like you specifically. What was your first system growing up, and then like what was your favorite as you sort of progressed? Because I'm assuming, I feel like we're all around the same age in our 30s.
32.
Hey.
Yep. Nice. Sweet spot. Yep. Not quite old, but everything is starting to kind of like be a little more noticeable.
Hurt?
Like,
Things are starting to click,
Yeah. Everything feels old. Yeah.
Yes. I'm like, have I been slouching already? Like, is this?
Yeah, everyone fix that posture.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, I mean, I saw your guys' like the bio, and I'm like, yeah, these are my people. I've been in gaming since like day one. I mean, it's honestly like before it was like cool to be a gamer. I guess I'd like to throw that out there, but I had a couple older brothers that were about my oldest is 15 years older than me, and so they had like the even older systems. And so as soon as I remember playing Doom on the computer, like the first one.
Nice.
Yeah. And it was absolutely off limits for me because like that was blasphemy in our house. Of course, I mean, I freaking played it and it was awesome, and I'm sure it gave me nightmares or whatever. But like now looking back on it, I'm like, this is like nothing. I could let my 5-year-old play with it. But it was like Doom, N64. I remember playing like Metroid. I remember playing like Kirby. All those games that you can like port in now on the Switch. Like I'm firing all that stuff up, and it's like sucking me back into the past. It's crazy, but
good Kirby fun.
And I think I was maybe it was the N64. Yeah, no, it was N64. I think that was probably my first like intense system, like the one I was hitting all the time. And I actually shifted over to Xbox when that first came out. And then I was basically Team Xbox from there until the PlayStation 4 came out with, I think Killzone maybe. Because I remember standing in the line and I remember seeing the videos of like what the PlayStation 4 was going to look like. And I'm like, oh man, I was actually at the launch for PlayStation 4 and standing in the line. I remember everyone making Bane impressions because I think that movie had just came out or something like that. But
nice.
Yes. Then it was PlayStation 4, and then it kind of the rest was history. I mean, I went hard into PlayStation, and I was like, oh, this is now me, I guess. So
yeah. I mean, I will say that, as far as, sort of, you talked about being able to pause games and stuff, they're like first person or their single player story based games are significantly stronger across the board.
For sure.
Which, I mean, even just like between God of War and Spider-Man alone, like those two franchises.
Rising.
carry
Final
the whole
Fantasy.
Horizon.
Yeah, Horizon.
Good one. Gosh,
Ratchet and Clank.
Ratchet and Clank, yeah.
Yep.
Lots
We
of good
could
ones.
keep naming games here, and they're just strong releases consistently.
And it's kind of funny because, like, I remember back then people were like, "Oh, single player games are dead. They're just wanting multiplayer, and like that's all
Call of
anybody's going to be
Duty.
doing." Yeah, that was going to be the future, and like, not so much.
I still remember when the
Market
God of
for
War
everything
devs were playing around with multiplayer in Ascension. Like they started to introduce multiplayer into God of War games because they thought that that's where the industry was headed. It's like, good Lord, get that out of there.
That was a bad call. That was a bad
That
call.
was awful.
Yeah.
I actually was working at GameStop. I got a gig at GameStop because I thought it was awesome. You could take home the pre-owned games for like rentals or something like that. I don't know. You got like a discount, and I was like, I'll just stay. I don't care if they're paying me minimum wage. This is totally worth it. But I remember when that game came out, and just the rage was not was well
People
known.
weren't happy.
Yeah, we got a lot of trade-ins on that one.
I too was a former GameStop employee.
Nice.
I worked there in university.
I did have a soft spot in my heart whenever it looked like they might be going under. I'm like, that stinks. And so I like would go visit them, and I'm like, oh well, I don't know. I guess they probably need to go down.
Those are the people in the stock
Yeah, it kind
market.
of makes sense.
Yeah, I was like,
right.
ooh, I get it now. Okay. Yeah.
So I'm curious, have you ever bring it back to your photos? And I could scroll through your stuff for days, and
And that's
This is
awesome.
unreal.
It's incredible.
It's so awesome. But have you ever been approached by sort of game developers or publishers for like with any of the photos that you've taken in game? Have you dealt with anyone? Have you signed any NDAs that we can't really talk about? Or?
Yeah. So nothing from developers, like VIP access right here. Yeah. No developers have like directly approached me, but PlayStation has reached out, and they send me codes because they do want me to fire those games up as soon, because they came out and they're like, any exclusive they give me access to, and it's awesome because then I can get in and like play around with the controls and like figure out how I can kind of do that first pass on like getting those crappy photos out of the way before I know what I'm doing.
Totally.
Before like the game is actually like out in the wild, and so that's been awesome. And I think that's about the limit of there. But I think actually Insomniac Games follows me on Instagram, and I that was like the biggest, I know, like I have to like go back and check every once in a while. I'm like, please, like keep, is it still there? Like,
are they still there?
This wasn't a mistake, right?
Yes, 100%. I thought it was some kind of like fluke, or it's like glitch out or something. That was a highlight. I probably should like take a picture and frame it before they kick me off of it or something.
I mean, if they of all the companies, like they've probably been the most consistent with their photo mode. Like we said, like from Ratchet and Clank to the Spider-Mans now, like their stuff's unreal, and it's just so easy to use, and just
they seem like they really like enjoy it too. Like there's a couple animators that I follow on Instagram. Sorry, my freaking chest is going out on me. But they will post like the photos, like the animators, like they'll be like, hey, like I just took this shot in the game, and it will be like 3 weeks before the game came out, and I'm like, oh man, this is it. This is like the guy showing off the features right here. Like, so the employees like seem to be real into it too, and like the people who are making the game. So that's always been really cool to see.
Well, it looks so good, right? Because you got to imagine this person's been like forehead to a screen, like pixelizing things, right? Like character models. And someone's like, I worked on making the hair look like hair. And so when you take a great photo of it, like there's no better way to show it off. Like I'm same with Kyle. I'm going through your website right now and just looking at photos of like Ratchet and Clank and just losing my mind as to like some of the quality of it.
Well, and like I know, I mean, I don't really know how long it takes to like make these games, but I imagine even like the animations, like just the takedown effects, just take probably, I don't know, forever to put together. And so I think they have appreciation for like when we like that stuff and like we snag it and like, and we put it out there and they're like, hey, I animated that. And it's like, man, a person animated this. Like they made that takedown animation. And so I think it like kind of showcases the things that they're real proud of too, in like a snapshot too. So that's been cool.
Well, it's kind of like talking about the intangibles in sports, right? Like, it's things that might not necessarily be appreciated by all gamers out there, but for the ones that are really into it, it's like, you know, like the fact that I can zoom in on a multitude of Spider-Man suits in the game and I can see like little individual dots and like squares of the fabric and the textures. Like the fact that that was even thought about and put into the game as a detail is mind blowing. And it's just cool to be able to experience that as like, okay, this is actually like a worn suit that's on a body. You know, it's not just like a sheeny piece of plastic on something.
Just like a graphic, an applique.
Yeah.
You can like see the repeated textures like across the whole thing or something.
Yeah,
it's the worst.
Combine that with like the actual suit damage too when you're actually
dude,
so good.
And the fact that it carries over into the cutscenes now, I just think is just awesome. Like those are those little weird things that like even the costumes. Like I remember that being like one of the cool things about the first Spider-Man was that whatever costume you were wearing was still in the cutscene. And I remember like just seeing every once in a while I'd see a comment from somebody else saying like, we just appreciate the fact that they keep the costume on, like it's the one you chose in the cutscenes or in the photo mode and stuff. So it's that little stuff. I think it's just great. It's funny that you mentioned the textures on the suit though, because I actually several cosplayers will reach out to me asking for photos of like an up close shot of like a specific suit, so they can like 3D print the textures, like on the 2099 suits or something. Like they can't find that out on the internet. But we can just zoom in and like grab like what the actual texture looks like, and then they can do, you know, whatever magic they're doing on their end.
So here's what you're gonna do: you're gonna boot up the game, you're gonna go into photo mode. You are gonna go zoom in.
That's fucking crazy. It's like that you can even attempt to do that to help somebody. Like the fact that that's even an option is mind blowing.
Yeah.
Well, and then they just make just crazy magic out of it. Some of the guys, I wish I could remember any of their names, but the stuff that they make, and they go to these like conferences, I'm like, damn, like some studio sign this person up, please. Like, I can't believe they're just making this stuff in their like bedroom, like, and you know, it takes like a whole studio to put this stuff together for a movie, and so yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, we had a chance to watched a cosplay contest at a gaming convention we were at this summer. First time we'd ever been to one, and it was wild. The level
First time
of like
you've
detail.
been one.
Yeah.
Easy, Daryl. Easy.
Okay. Yeah. So it's incredible what they're doing. It's really cool that they actually reached out to you for sort of collaboration that way.
Mm-hmm. And they're all super nice and super awesome.
Yeah.
I think they just want some of those like different. One of the guys he wanted the photos of the 29 suit, the white one, and he wanted to recreate this shot with his cosplay suit once he got it. And he did it. It looked exactly like it.
That's cool.
I'll have to send his name to you guys in the DMs, but he put it together, and like he showed me the pictures once he was done with it. I'm like, dude, this is just crazy. Like, where are you? Are you on top of a building right now? Like,
please don't fall off.
Yeah.
I actually had another guy. Now I'm remembering it. He reached out to me because he wanted ideas for a tattoo. He's a tattoo artist from Australia, and he sent me the photo. And one of the photos that he had used for mine, he just sent me the photo of the tattoo. And this dude had freaking tattooed this damn thing on his leg. Like his whole thigh was covered with like one of the photos I had taken. And that's just like
crazy.
I'm sorry. Someone has a tattoo of one of your game photos on them.
Yep, and it looks
wild.
freaking badass. I'm like jealous.
I feel like that's like the highest form of flattery.
I was like, I like wanted to find him, like shake his hand or something, being like, man, this is awesome. I like showed everybody. Like,
now I'm
yes,
thinking.
this is a complete stranger's leg, but that picture is mine. So
Yeah,
you're gonna be receiving some DMs from Daryl and myself later, being like, "Hey, can you go in and take these photos for us?"
I told the guy, I was like, man, if you were in Australia, I'd be like there right now. You could put that thing on my leg, because that is it's photorealistic. It was the
wow.
It was one of the Miles suits, the programmable matter one, I think.
Oh,
had, you could, like put in some Venom effects on it too, but it looked just freaking so awesome. Yeah.
New side business, tattoo commissions.
Yeah.
Right.
Custom photos. For
There you go.
tattoos.
Yeah.
Okay, we are gonna go to our segment break soon, but I do have like one more question. We're focusing a lot on like the photo mode stuff on this side of things. As far as games with photo modes go, is there anything that you wish they would add as far as, you know, like features or accessibility or anything that you would want to tweak a bit more? Is there like budget unlimited? What would
Wish
you
list.
have them add? Yes.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, that's so crazy enough with this new Spider-Man game. They really did like listen to the fans and like added in everything we wanted. We wanted poses, we wanted facial expressions, we wanted like to be able to rotate the character models. Gosh, honestly, like I don't know that in this latest Spider-Man game, I don't know that I've been like, you know what, they could have a time of day. So a lot of the games will either have a time of day like switcher, or they'll have the light mode. And I wish they had both. Like Ghost of Tsushima has the time of day, but it still is only, you know, it's only on the sun, the path of the sun. So you still have to be kind of in the right spot for it to work. But if you could do that with like a light mode to like drop a spotlight or drop a sphere or whatever, it would be
so
just
cool.
perfect. Yeah. So if they could do both, that would be like Nirvana. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That's a really good point, because you're exactly right. You get one or the other.
Yep.
And like there's been a couple of times in Spider-Man where like I found a really cool side of a building, or I'm in like this shaded or like darkened area. I'm like, damn it, I really wish I could change the time of day to get like the shadows right, or, you know, get the light exposure a little bit better. It's like, fuck.
Yeah. Damn it. Now I think they do give us a lot of control over like the natural lighting. So there's a lot, like you can rotate the sun, but it doesn't like make it nighttime. It doesn't like change the weather. But being able to add, weather effects would be cool. If they could add weather effects, like Spider-Man. But the ambient light setting, like when they put that into the remastered mode, I didn't even know that was coming. Until I like booted up Miles, and I'm like, the ambient light, and then you could change like where the light source intensity. And that was another just revolution. So honestly, they all just need to be looking at Spider-Man as like the model and just do that.
Well, it's nice to see that PlayStation seems to share a lot of these features, because like as one PlayStation exclusive kind of ups the ante for what a photo mode can achieve, then the next exclusive that comes out, it's almost like they've taken all of that. And then it's like, okay, we're going to try and add this and this. And it's like every time we get a new game, it just seems to slowly get better and better. So it's nice that they at least share that, it seems.
Oh, for sure. Well, I'm like, I keep thinking of Horizon, and even they didn't have a light mode, but damn, those graphics in that game are just, when people ask me like what game has the best graphics, I mean, Horizon was, I think it might be at the top of my list, at least as far as like, especially like skin textures. Like skin textures are so hard to get right. And I feel like if you don't have like the right lighting, it just looks like, no matter how good the graphics are, it just looks kind of gross. But man, like you zoom in on like she's got like the peach fuzz on her face. I'm like, how are they doing this?
And that was a complaint, wasn't it, in the second one, that
she looked too much like a dude, apparently, and people were upset about it.
I'm sure.
Have you ever met a female in person?
No.
No. Oh, was that the same?
That
they
doesn't
were
have
bugging out
shaving
about
kits.
Yeah. I know. Isn't this like literally the apocalypse? We're lucky there's not just a full beard on all these people already.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
Just hairy legs as far as the eye can see.
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty sure she still had like shaved armpits, so like that was still happening. But so
you want hygiene in this economy? Get out of here.
Inflation, man. Can't get away from it.
Nuclear winter? What do you want?
All right, so bring it all back here to sort of wrap up our photography section. If there's someone that's trying to learn more about video game photography, if they're trying to get into it, what would be some tips you have or suggestions for where to start?
Yeah. First, definitely jump into the community. Like I get guys all the time sending me photos and they're like, hey, like, is this good enough to like get in? I'm like, man, just jump in. Like you literally just start posting it, like be a part of this community. Like looking back, just when I started in 2019, I started posting back then, it was nothing compared to what it is now. And like the more people I feel like jump in and like start putting those photos out there, like the more developers are going to like take notice.
Right.
And so I've just been telling people, hey, like this is like you have a good eye. Like just because it's not a perfect photo, like doesn't mean like you're like it's embarrassing. Like start the community. Like if you just start going out to one of those hashtags or like watching one of the pages, like people come up with some crazy stuff. Like I want to say probably like even like 2 or 3 months ago, I was looking at a couple of the new ones that had popped up on my page. And I'm like, oh crap, I got to step up my game. These guys are like freaking leveling up on it. And like I'm going to start looking like a, I don't know, fake on the fraud on this whole thing. But I would say like definitely jump in the community. I know Twitter or X, I guess X, there's a whole nother giant community out there on X. I keep saying Twitter, X.
It's still Twitter.
It's Twitter.
It's Twitter.
X don't give it to you.
They did that, and I'm probably gonna get like he's gonna like assassinate me now or something. Like if I show up anywhere, but like it's just the worst decision ever was to switch that name. Anyways,
it's terrible.
There's a massive photography, video game photography community on X now, and I think TikTok is actually firing up. So I started posting my videos out there. Okay. All of a sudden, I start seeing all kinds of video game photography pages popping up on TikTok. But if I were to offer like a step 2 on it, I think did I just step on somebody?
No, you're copycats.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Well, there you go. Yeah. This is standard. The goat. But I would say like step 2, honestly, like it sounds weird, but go look up YouTube videos about actual real world photography techniques, especially like lighting and composition. It's no joke. That stuff translates. And I have picked up a lot of my like tricks and trades from just watching people like say like, you can't really recreate it from like a standpoint of like changing shutter speed or like, you know, you can change the intensity of the light sometimes, but you don't have quite as much freedom. But they'll tell you like, hey, if you're, so one of the examples was I had looked up one of the lighting techniques that they use when they place 3 separate light sources. And so whenever they're taking like a studio pic, and Spider-Man gives you 3 slots for a light source. And so this whole tutorial was like where you put your main, your key light, where you put your second light, where you put your third light. And I'm like, I tried it and I'm like, this is like magic now. Like this is crazy. So I don't know if you guys saw some of the Venom posts I put out there today, but that's what I'm using there is that 3 light system. And so I would say definitely jump out there and start looking up tutorials because it's awesome.
There's literally YouTube tutorials for everything now.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, especially in this, right? Because like in real world photography, like you do have a bit of luck, right? You have the time of day, you might, the sun or the clouds and whatever might change. But like in this setting, like you have to make every single decision.
Yes.
Right. Like, you might have some restraints based on the game, but like you're still making every single decision to compose that photo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's an awesome point. Yeah. Cause you can't, like sometimes you just have to stop and think like, what can I do with this scene? Like should I make it darker, lighter, black background, white background, high contrast, low contrast? It's almost like you're like kind of combining the like taking the picture and the post processing at like the same time. But I sometimes like just walk out to Instagram and just start looking at other people's photos just to get the inspiration. I'll go to like Insomniac's like the concept art, like the things that like they think are cool, and like because I know those guys are just like insanely talented. I don't know how they do it, but the stuff that they think is cool, I'm like, man, I would love to recreate this shot. Or like even I don't know that Oppenheimer poster where he's like standing in the background with all the like crazy nuclear fire behind him. I'm like, I gotta do this in the game, and with the new graphics, like you can totally make it work. And so I did coin the phrase Spider-Heimer, I think. It's out there. That's a hashtag. So
that's a good one.
So, but yeah, I just go out there and start looking at other posters, pictures, concept art, comic book covers, especially the Spider-Man ones. Now, those are a little harder because they got Spider-Man doing like some crazy like poses, and like you can't really recreate those, but sometimes just the way that they compose the image just kind of helps you jump into some kind of inspiration. So
sick.
Nice.
That is awesome. It's really cool to hear sort of your insight into, I guess, tips, because again, there's a lot of people that are really like so afraid to start anything just because they're not going to be perfect at it immediately.
Yep.
I mean, look at us. Our first season was something. But again, like you just got to start. Just start.
Yep.
Do it.
And you get better over time. Just do
that
it.
Shia LaBeouf meme.
Yeah.
The first one's gonna suck. It's gonna suck.
Yeah.
Just
it's
accept
always.
It's never not terrible. And so I just tell people, like, just freaking put it out there. Like I go back, I had to archive some of my old photos because I'm like, ugh, I can't believe like this was this was my standard at one point. But yeah, it's gonna be shitty at first, and then it's gonna be awesome. So
yeah,
and I
feel just time and effort.
Well, and I feel like with photography too, everybody's got their own idea of what they enjoy and what they find appealing. You know, some people really enjoy like oversaturated images, and others want like super dark and moody stuff. And like, you know, it's just, there's really no like copy and paste.
It's almost like art is subjective.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
No, that is an awesome point, because you go to the pages and you start seeing like a style like just show up, and like, you know, I don't, they could be trying for it, but like you can tell it's just kind of their personality starts coming out, and like you just see it on the page. It'll be like action shots, or it'll be up close shots, or it'll be like weird like abstract where I'll see someone just take a weird photo of like the spider emblem, or like they'll do some of them where they'll set up their whole grid to be like each photo is like a piece of the bigger photo, and then when you go to their grid, it just looks like a giant photo on their grid.
That's so sweet.
Right.
I love when
that takes way more discipline than I'm like capable of. But I'm not really sure what my style is at this point, but I definitely like going out there and seeing what people put together.
Yeah.
I'll take that. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we're going to take a bit of a break from photography talk so we can actually talk about Spider-Man 2. But before we do that, we're going to take a little segment break.
Good enough.
Jukebox.
All right. This week we've got the Good Enough Jukebox. So anyone who's new here, this is where we talk about a game soundtrack, or even something gaming related, music wise, something you're going to want to turn on in your car, turn on at work, and just crank all the time, even when you're not playing games. So I'm going to let Kane go first here. It sounds like you had one ready. So take it away. What is your jukebox of the week? So
are we limited to like an era or?
Nope.
Man.
Any game that like you're like, hey, I'm finding this on Spotify, on YouTube, and I just want to listen to the soundtrack.
I am not embarrassed to say that I had the Halo soundtrack on my workout playlist for years. And I still every once in a while I'll still fire up. I think it's like one of the mixes, I think, dropped in like some crazy guitar riffs, and I just thought it was fucking awesome. Just so freaking awesome. And like I found myself humming it even like now. Like if I'm getting like somewhere where like the echo sounds cool, like it flies out like on its own. But
exactly. Like
that freaking soundtrack is so badass.
It's so iconic. Like just that. Like you could do just that and people know exactly what you're talking about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, even if you're not a gamer, you would know
just
what that
millennials.
is.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Like when was the last Halo game? Was it like
recently?
5 years ago?
There's one, didn't one just come out?
A year and a half ago?
It wasn't great at launch. Yeah.
Okay,
It wasn't the golden era.
Yeah. It won't add like right out of the gate. And because I remember I was Team PlayStation at the time, and I was kind of like, man, is this going to suck me back in? And then I didn't hear anything about it. It just kind of like fell off the radar, and I was like, all right, well, I guess that's not worth my time. But
PS5 for me.
November 15th, 2021.
Now, yeah.
Okay, so 2 years. Yeah.
Wow.
It got better through patches and updates, but it's definitely not like I think Halo 3 is still probably like the pinnacle. You know, maybe Halo 4 a little bit, but yeah,
Halo 4.
It's been a while.
Yeah, I did play the shit out of Reach, and I think I even got pretty psyched about ODST. That's the one where he drops in and he's just like a grunt or something. I thought that was pretty freaking cool, but yeah, nothing. That Halo 3. Yeah, I'm actually remembering that now. That was iconic. That was one of like the core memories.
Golden Age.
Golden Age.
Yes, there it is.
All right, so this week,
Love Red versus Blue.
Oh, so good.
Oh God, forgot about that. Damn, man, you guys are my
nostalgic.
I forgot about Red versus Blue. I remember like sitting like Sarge. Who were the other fucking characters? I remember like watching that shit in my computer class.
Oh yeah.
Gosh, that was awesome, man. That was.
Breaking the library computer in high school and
go to YouTube and
go on and watch.
Every group has a caboose.
That's good.
All right.
Yeah, I remember like the school would get wise to it and like block it, and then you'd have to figure out some other weird way to like get around the block, and then you get viruses off of computers. Yeah, that happened a few times in our school, but
fucking worth it. Though.
Yep.
I love the shared experience that we all done.
You can't keep me off of stick death.
Like, was there just like a message board or something? Like, was there like some MySpace where we all grabbing this stuff off, or what?
Just like
shared experience.
Just that like weird universal knowledge we all had of like video game sheets and like all these things. Just like, how did I
stumble across it?
Like if I said E-bomb, is that gonna like resonate?
Absolutely.
Listen back to our SHD episode with Simon, who used to make games for E-bomb's World.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, Trevor, get us back on track.
I'm trying. So last week we were talking about Forza and the crew. So I had to do some digging because obviously we talked about racing games and their trash soundtracks lately.
Booty cheeks.
I found one. So this is the up and comer, possibly because of Netflix and just the popularity of the game. The F1 franchise. So there's F1 23 came out recently, which is like quite a bit of like kind of like EDM, like kind of groove dance music. F1 22 is like, it is damn near a Christopher Nolan like Hans Zimmer level-esque for like a racing game, and it has no business being as good as it is.
No,
it's like orchestra and like instrumental stuff, and I'm just like, man, this like I'm feeling feelings right now. Like this is crazy for a racing game. So
like Inception.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It has like huge like Inception, like kind of Batman Begins vibes to it. Like just some of like the rises and falls of like an orchestra. I'm like, this is so weird for a Formula One game, but it takes a weird turn between 22 and 23. But both of those soundtracks actually phenomenal for a racing game. I was like, I don't know if it's menu music or racing music. I just found the soundtracks on Spotify and they're really good.
Shit.
Amazing.
I know I caught Jordan's attention.
Yeah.
The F1.
As soon as you said Hans Zimmer, Jordan,
Hans Zimmer, baby.
Yeah.
Like I'm missing it.
Look it up. Spotify. It's probably on Apple and YouTube and
here
as well. But yeah, that's
doing Richard Rice.
Are they like trying to match? Like, is the story like heavy or something? Like, what was the?
And that's what I mean. It's like I haven't actually played the game, but I was like, oh, I found the soundtrack, and I was like, this feels like a really heavy story moment. But it's just like I don't know like what's going on in this game.
It's like, what is happening?
Yeah.
You're gonna find
you
out
just crash your car, and now your younger brother has to continue your legacy.
Oh God.
He'll always have family, though, Kyle.
Yeah.
Family. All right, so. To bring us back around here, the second half of this, we got to talk about Spider-Man, because holy shit, I've never felt like such a kid again jumping into that. Like, can we talk about that first swing in the game?
They've done that in all three of them. They've been so good in all three games.
God, though, like
and
the music swells and you're just Spider-Man, just like I'm Spider-Man. I'm Spider-Man.
Kyle sounds like his 5-year-old right now.
Yeah. But that
Dude,
mask on.
Yeah.
I can't describe how much nostalgia and like even just like thinking about the game makes me happy.
This
You know,
is
like
the
I would look
best start
forward
to
to
a
the next
game
chance I get to play it.
since Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh yeah.
Ooh,
Oh
yep.
yeah.
It's high praise.
That like ride through the field. Oh, titles. Daryl, you're hitting me here, man.
But then they bust out the web wings, and I'm like thinking it's going to be just some stupid like glider. Like that's fine. I mean, I was into it. I'm like, I'll glide around. It's fine. But like
the Breath of the Wild
you're
glider.
like flying. Yeah, like Legend of Zelda, like hook on to something, but you're like actually flying. And the fact that like shit's like flying past you so fast and like no clipping, no frame rate stutters, like they did
And you
really
can you can seamlessly go back into swinging off of that too.
Yeah. And like the animations work.
The crazy one, I don't know, Kyle, if you've done any of these yet too. There's like the mechanical birds, and there's the later missions where you have to like chase them down to download data, and you have to stay in their jet stream, and you go even faster. And I'm just like, how are they making this work? Like, how is this game working this well? Like, I don't know what Insomniac's
like an
doing.
F1 game.
I don't know what Insomniac's doing compared to other devs, but like, holy crap!
Sony is obviously pumping a ton of money into them, and rightfully so. Like they proved themselves with the first Spider-Man and Miles Morales, and they pumped out what could essentially be a game of the year game.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. And like
it better be nominated.
Bringing in all the villains, like the villains are just perfect in this too. Like the acting, the freaking stories. Like I kind of feel for them, like all of them.
Well, that's the big thing is like the improvement with the villains in this game versus the first two is so many of them have like real tragic backstories where you feel sympathetic towards their goals and you're like, okay, I understand why he has the motivations that he does, because if I was in his situation, I'd do the same thing, you know? And it's like picking up all of Sandman's like crystals and learning like why he's kind of doing what he's doing. You're like, shit. That's all I'm saying, Kyle. That's all I'm saying.
Kyle's on spoiler alert right now.
But yeah, like there's a lot of those moments in this game where you're like, fuck, like these villains were already super iconic and recognizable, but now they have that added layer of emotional depth that you maybe haven't experienced with them before.
Yeah.
And that was something that I really kind of took from this game.
Nothing like seeing a reformed Tombstone running a go-kart. Like
I was like,
you're like, oh shit, I gotta save this dude. Like I can't let him down. Like,
I care about this man. Well, I think that's always funny with like Spider-Man in general is like all of the characters in Spider-Man I find tended to have kind of like a good intention, and then they just happen to kind of fall down the rabbit hole. Whereas like, you know, you get Thanos coming in, you're like, Thanos is a bad guy because he's a bad guy. You're like, oh. Whereas like in this case, there's like all of Spider-Man's villains are kind of like people that just kind of took the wrong path.
Yeah. There's a bit more like moral ambiguity to it.
Yeah.
Totally.
And like, I think what's always been kind of cool is that Spider-Man talks to them like they're humans.
Yeah.
I guess that's been kind of crazy is that he like doesn't like, you know, he's trying to help them. I mean, there's always like some kind of cool like jokey in there, but like there's not a whole lot of stories where like the hero sees the villain as like another person that he's like trying to help, but seems like also like trying not to like get murdered by the same guy or, you know, like
referring to them by their first name as well, which is pretty funny.
Yeah, definitely.
Steve, I'm trying to save you, Steve.
But I mean, that whole first fight with Sandman, I'm like, you could feel like you could tell that like Peter was kind of hurt that it was like so bad, like how bad it was for him. And so like, I don't know, it just kind of felt it hit a little differently this time.
Yeah.
Just the inclusion of baddies. And I mean, like with the Craven movie coming out
one day
and then including him.
And please don't be terrible.
I swear I've seen more. Yeah.
Everything's delayed right now. Yeah.
Delayed indefinitely.
But I mean, like Craven as a Spider-Man villain. Oof.
Yeah.
High five.
It brings me back to some of my like comic book reading. Like that.
I love
man.
Yeah, having him as the central villain in this game is such a great inclusion.
Yep.
Like, you know, you get so many Spider-Man villains where it's intellect versus intellect. And in this, it's like, yeah, Craven is incredibly smart and a very well-versed hunter, but he also just has this sheer power over Peter Parker. Mm-hmm. Like, he just towers over him as a character. And that's something you don't get from a lot of Spider-Man villains. So that was a nice kind of contrast from like Doc Ock in the first one.
It's definitely hitting the trend.
Where that was more...
He's just like...
Sorry, Daryl.
So Craven's definitely hitting the trend.
Daryl, you were choppy there. There you go.
Hitting the trend. He's on his Instagram.
No, it's all just lean protein.
He's on that Instagram influencer model.
Yeah, right. Liver King? You mean Craven?
Oh, God.
Liver King. Is that guy dead yet, or what? What?
No, he's just been he's been found out to be a fraud, but
kind of disappeared after that.
Didn't.
No.
So
funny how that
has everyone got to the? I want to say I think it's one of the MJ scenes. I know I'm trying to like be very like careful with this, but like she walks in and of course Craven's running down everybody, and you kind of start seeing like what he's been up to as far as like who he's been getting his hands onto. And it's like just a room, and it has like their artifacts, like it has like Vulture's wings, or it has, you know, some of the other things. Like, does it sound? I'm trying to like be careful without doing too far. But
is that like the stealth mission at the zoo?
It's the first one.
Yeah,
it's the first one.
Okay,
yeah.
And so, but then
I'm up to there. Thank you for respecting my journey.
And like Craven's like ending these people, and you kind of like start like you kind of start like, oh shit, like this guy's for real. Like he's not out to just like win. He just like actually wants to put you up on his ball. So
like, okay, can we talk about the scene where he rips off Scorpion's stinger and stabs him with it?
But I wasn't sure.
I had such a hard time not texting the whole group. It was like, guys, what the fuck? Like, that is, I think that's this game brings a bit more of like the mature Spider-Man stories.
Yeah, not the Disney, no blood.
No, because that was gruesome too. Just imagine your own stinger being ripped off and being stabbed with it.
And he hits him
it gets worse.
Dude,
the story gets so much darker than that.
I can't wait.
There was actually a moment like where I'm at right now where something awesome happens, and I'm like, oh man, I got to show my kid this, because he's like all about like all the big villain moments, like Lizard and all that stuff. And I'm like, oh man, manual save, I got to revisit this. And then it just goes R-rated, and I'm like, "Oh,
maybe I
took a left turn there."
Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just like hold on to this for like a little bit. But yeah, it's like I did not expect it to go that heavy. And I mean, welcome. I'm into it. It's awesome. But I didn't see it coming. So
I know exactly the moment you're talking about, Kane. And I'm in the same boat.
Kyle's my favorite
moment. I'm in the same boat. Like when it happened, I was like, holy shit. Like that we just went off that deep end.
Yes.
Like fully unexpected, but I'm glad that they leaned into it, because some of these characters are not Peter Parker. Like they're not the high school kid, you know, cracking jokes and everything. Like there are some pretty dark, gruesome characters in this universe. So, and I think it bodes well for Wolverine when that eventually happens, because it's like if they can do what they've sort of done here, like you're already headed that direction towards Wolverine. So like just keep going down that path, and we'll get the Wolverine game.
We'll get the Wolverine. We'll get the Deadpool. then we'll get that.
Get the Daredevil,
Yeah.
just a black screen.
Yeah.
So I feel like am I making this up? I feel like someone said something about like the Spider-Man 3 game was going to be basically like their end game, like their version of end game. And I'm thinking like what do they mean by that? Like, is there going to be some badass like portal moment where like Wolverine swings in or something? But I'm like, I feel like there's so many ways they can make this happen. I'm like,
yeah.
I mean, sign me up for that one. That'd be awesome.
Absolutely.
I'd be very curious how they do like traversal and stuff with Wolverine.
Well, that's where
because I mean, like,
if you think of how much work Insomniac put into like how big the world is and how much you can see, and how you can just swing through it so easy, like take that time and effort and physics and modeling and put it into like stuff that Wolverine can now do. Like I'm hoping I can like turn people into like cubes. Like I'm hoping to be able to see them turn into physical cubes, because it's like this physics engine with that character without the swinging. It's like you could do so much stuff. I
just hope that they include a cannonball special with
Colossus.
fastball special with Colossus. That's all I need is the fastball
That'd
special.
be great.
I would love if they bled Wolverine into an X-Men game and brought back like the old like Marvel Alliance type games.
Yeah.
I can hear the X-Men cartoon music in my head right now.
It was just like perfect. I saw some like videos of like people like singing it or something. I want to say they were like harmonizing it or something, and then they like brought in like a keyboard, and I'm like, what is this? And then at the bottom,
and like electric cello and violin.
Yeah.
After Pitch Perfect, acapella got real weird out there.
I just need X-Men 97 to come out.
Ooh, motorcycle would be smart, actually.
You could see vehicles for sure.
MJ is just the physics test for Wolverine. It's like, whose Harley is this?
Oh, there you go. Yeah. That character
MJ rolling up with a Harley. You're like, what is happening right now?
Just borrowed it from a friend
Logan. It feels
Logan.
better driving in that than it did on Gotham Knights.
Oh God,
I'm going to assume so.
Yeah. I also hope that that driving is better than those bicycles in Spider-Man 2.
Oh, that was awful.
Those aren't great.
That was rough.
That was a bromance quest. That was such a fun time.
Yeah.
It was something.
I can see it feeling like Days Gone a little bit with the Wolverine one. Like I was suspicious of how that was going to work, but it was cool.
As soon as they told everybody that the Spec Ops, the line writer, like the writer for that Spec Ops game is the writer for Wolverine. As soon as I read that headline, I was like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Like I already know that the story is going to be dark
awesome.
and fucking brutal, and I'm here for it. Like it's going to be so good.
Now, I want to talk about rumors. Did you guys see the rumors about the Spider-Man 2 DLC that's going to be related to Daredevil?
I saw the blank
spoilers about that. Yeah,
it was off that blank.
The Murdoch and whatever.
The crest for the Murdoch.
Yeah.
And I was scrolling today and saw someone had found a hand, like the hand location.
Not a physical hand, Trevor.
I was like, no.
Not like somebody is.
Well, Kyle keeps doing this, and I'm like, what are you talking about?
It's just the hand from
like
the Addams
the organization, the hand.
Not the foot, but the hand.
Yeah.
Gotcha,
Correct.
okay.
Yes.
Damn. Ninja Turtles DLC confirmed.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and Daryl can maybe back me up on this. I think the DLC is every expansion is going to be a different character.
Okay.
I don't think any of the expansions you're gonna play as Peter or as Miles.
Oh, you think?
Interesting.
Oh, Jordan,
I think
I'm just throwing it out there.
I could see it, but I'm more leaning towards the idea that that's when they're going to be introduced. Like you're still going to be Peter or Miles, but that's this is your introduction to them becoming viable characters.
Yeah.
Okay. Because like the whole Spider-Man like play style and everything lends itself very well to Daredevil.
Yeah.
Correct.
Like he kind of like spraying on stuff too. Like he's got the Billy
It's
club
like
that he throws around.
nunchuck things can
Yeah.
extend and connect to stuff like in the old comics and TV show or whatever. Like it acts like a grappling hook kind of thing. It's weird.
Well, and they've already got the black and white filter in the game, so just switch that on.
Echolocation.
Yeah, so you're not going to see anything in color. It's just going to be a black and white video game.
That'd be pretty crazy, actually.
Yeah.
So I saw I think it may have been some video on IGN or something, but they were showing how to like recreate the noir verse.
Oh yeah, I just saw that today too.
And so they fool around with some of the accessibility settings, and they bring in that character and they add the animation that like where he's all like trippy and glitchy out of it, but it looked exactly like it. I'm like, damn! Like I thought there was actually like a mode I was missing, and they were just fooling around with the settings, and that's like the movie. So it was.
That was
awesome.
kind of like the Miles Spider-Verse settings in the Miles Morales game. It was just like it feels like they turned it down for noir because in Miles Morales, I was just like, oh god, like it's just
not quite as strokey.
it kind of hurt your brain a little bit.
Strokey.
Little bit of a seizure salad going on. Yeah. Okay, well, on that note, I have to ask everybody so far, favorite suit in the game, Peter or Miles?
Oh,
Is there one that stands out? Is there one that stands out?
I've already
What's your
seen
go-to?
suit spoilers, so I'm not gonna. Scarlet Spider. I love that.
Daryl's so happy.
Daryl's so happy.
So like the one with the hood, like the 3-1, or the
No.
OG, like the original.
Hood OG one.
Yeah.
OG.
I mean, that one-
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Yes. Check,
variations are
Kyle.
freaking
That's a win.
Yeah. I love that Insomniac did that. Like in this one, instead of having suits that have
The color
stats, they were
variations.
just like, let's just make like color variations of them all. It's like, that's so cool.
Yeah. Game changer. Love
Oh,
that.
yeah.
I also approve
Yeah.
of that.
Okay. Is there one that stands out?
That symbiote suit, man, is like the one where he's like real slimy and gross, like when he's like going full like crazy. Like
Yeah.
I think like they even got like the veins in the spider logo. I'm like, when you start zooming in and like seeing like all the details that they put in it, I'm just like, this is awesome. I was kind of lukewarm on like the main black suit. Like it was okay, it was cool.
Yeah.
It looked a little more armory though to me. But once he starts going like full symbiote, I'm like, this is awesome. This is the suit.
You might notice because you've probably zoomed in on his face a bunch. As Peter gets a little angrier early in the game, does his eyes start to change in the symbiote suit? Do they start to branch out like the Venom eyes? Because I feel like early on when it's just Spider-Man, it's like the very crisp mask. And then as he gets a little grumpy, I find that like it's like they started adding some of the little branches to the eyes.
They definitely get the veins.
Okay.
Like those creepy little like blue veins that are start like spreading across the white sections.
Yeah.
Like those are definitely showing up, and it's pretty. I'm into it. It's awesome. There's that one, and then have you guys seen the like also the web wings switch between suits? Like they,
Yes,
they're all
So cool.
They're all specific.
such a nice detail. Such a nice detail. I love that.
One of them actually
Has
has
everyone
like actual
unlocked
metal
the
wings.
original symbiote suit? Like just the other one that you
Yes.
could just get?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So like the one colorway of it at the very end when it's still black is like with the red and blue hues from the comic, like from the cartoon.
From the animated series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
From like the 90s
Oh,
The
yeah.
90s show.
animated series.
Dude,
Where it's
So
like,
good.
yeah, where it's like black and red outline to the symbiote suit. Like, yeah, I know that's crazy that they added that in there. Such a cool detail.
I'm currently
So is there a suit that everyone likes?
I was going to say my current one that I really like is I think it's the 2020 suit, like the Daft Punk looking one with the helmet.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
With the
yeah.
helmets and the
he's got the headphones in. Yeah, that one's pretty
Yeah.
sweet. And like the kind of like
That's a good one.
almost like Thriller Michael Jackson like kind of high jacket.
Yep.
It's like this
Yeah.
thing's pretty
Yeah.
And
weird.
like the eyes change, like they're like the light, they're like LEDs, but they all change with his animations and stuff. Yeah, that was great.
Miles' last suit in the game is my absolute favorite. Like, and when you get there, you'll understand. It's like, oh man, so good, so good.
I might not. Which this is a new suit. This is it's like a last one. Oh,
brand new. Never like I've never seen it on anything. Brand new suit at the very end of the.
You get it. You get it in the story. Like it factors into the end story.
Oh God! Now I feel like I have to know.
So that one is incredible. I agree with Daryl. I actually think Miles has the better suit selection in the game, like as a whole. So that one that Daryl mentioned, I won't say anything more about it. There's also another end game Miles suit. And Daryl, you'll know the one I'm talking about with like the certain logos.
Yep.
He's sponsored.
That's all I'm gonna say about it because I don't want to spoil anything.
Up for the Knicks.
NASCAR jacket. I'm just picturing him in like a NASCAR jacket
with a bunch of different advertisements.
Yeah.
Just a onesie.
That's what I'm getting.
The fireproof onesie.
Yeah. So that one is one of my favorites, and then the Brooklyn 2099 suit.
That was awesome. That was a good one.
For Miles, I love that one, and the color variations that are with it too are all fucking bangers, top to bottom.
The blue.
I need to say before we get further is the suits that you get as rewards for the side missions are so much better in this game than any one previous.
There's like a Mysterio suit, right?
Yes.
I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's hot fire.
I haven't seen it yet, but I heard it's awesome.
Yeah, and I got the Puerto Rican one for Miles, which is pretty cool.
Sweet.
Yeah. Even that one is really cool too. I like that one. Yeah, there wasn't a single suit that I got from finishing like the side mission story arcs that I was like, oh, that was kind of a waste of time. Like every suit reward you get, I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna use that for the next 2 hours.
Till I get the next one.
Till I get the next one, because this is so good.
I do appreciate that without the stats involved. You're just like, I'll just wear whatever's coolest, whatever tickles your fancy.
People just need to walk away from that. Just freaking give us a suit. It's fine. Yeah.
Or just make like transmogs, right? Like in other games. Like let me look however I want to look, but like don't hurt my stats because of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Well, the color variations was the best inclusion in this game because there were a lot of suits where the default color, I was like, that's okay, but I've got something better. Yeah. And then you open up the menu of the other colors, and you're like, oh, okay, that one. I'm gonna pick that one. Yeah. So that happened to me multiple times.
Peter's cape suit was that one was for me, and because I think the main one's like white, I think, but then one of the variants is like a black and orange, and that one was just fucking sick. Very Assassin's Creed, very kind of military almost looking, but it was pretty cool. And then the freaking cape physics are spot on.
Yeah,
I mean, that was the first question I got when I was taking pictures of the cape ones. Everyone's asking how the cape fit. I guess everyone was worried that it was going to look stilted or just stiff or not. But
piece of cardboard on his back.
Yeah. Stuck.
Yeah, they did a good job with that suit. It looks really good when you're swinging through the city and just how smooth it moves. Yeah, they did a good job with that one.
So I hate to interrupt us.
It's what you do best.
I know for sure we could talk for Spider-Man for another hour at least. In fact, we might have to do a follow-up episode with another episode.
Spoiler cast.
Spoiler cast episode. Yeah. We'll bring Kane back for part 2.
Yeah. We'll do across the Spider-Verse.
Spoiler cast.
Let's do it.
Spoiler cast.
So as of right now, to wrap up as we usually do, scores out of 10, guys. I'd like to start with Kane. I'm going to put you on the spot here. Out of 10, how are you ranking Spider-Man 2 so far?
Oh man. So all of the annoying things that I had, like just the little like kind of side gigs, like the side missions and stuff from the first game that like didn't like bring down the whole experience, but they just were kind of like, I'd do them and I'd be like, I really don't want to do this right now. I want to go back to like the other stuff. I've not had that once in this game. And like even the dumb side missions where you're, I think like one of them, it's like right out of the gate, you send a drone up through a bunch of different like rings to like get the data feed or whatever. And I'm like, man, this is going to be their freaking tower thing again. And then it was like, I was like, my heart was like raced. Like the music swells as you're like flying through the things. And it's just, I'm like, even that was cool. I'm like willing to give it like a 9.5 out of 10 at this point. And honestly, like the sequences that I'm like playing through right now are like making it for me. Like these are the Spider-Man dreams I've had since I was like a kid. And like now it's like all real and like the swinging is perfect. The anime, like I've never like, you know, there's always like the games where like just some little, like the little stuff kind of like adds up to be kind of like lame. Like I don't have that here. Like there's not like stuff that's like bothering me. And so it's just fun as hell. And I think that's like part of the games too, is like some people were complaining about some cheesy dialogue or whatever, which I don't know that I agree with that, but like
Spider-Man.
I know. It's like jokes are like, that's like the whole point is like to be like cheesy, like it, but I just never had like a moment where I was like, that was kind of, I wish they hadn't done that. I just think it's all like just fun and the story's awesome. And like, I'm already, I don't want to finish the game right now because I know it'll just like, I know I'll go back and play it all, but I kind of want it to like last. But I'm going to throw it a 9.5 because I just think it's just freaking fun as hell.
Yeah.
Nice.
Awesome.
All right, the DeBoll brothers.
Sorry, who?
Which one? I don't care.
For me so far, I'd say 9.5 as well. It took a little bit for me to get back into the controls with fighting.
So many mechanics.
I know so many like button press panics sometimes. Like, oh shit, I don't know what I'm doing, but I hope I did it right. Just fighting, especially like with mobs of guys. But once I got back into it, especially with like the spider powers and stuff, it's all really cool and I'm really enjoying it and it flows pretty well.
Yeah.
Again, like everything Kane said, this is by far potentially game of the year for me.
Mm-hmm.
And like this year's game of the year is going to be a battle. But I would argue that this is in hot spot.
It's easily top 3, and no, Zelda is not one of those 3 people. So get the fuck out of here. Fuck off with Zelda, for Christ's sake.
Okay, Trevor, let's hear it.
I'm sitting right there with you. 9.5. My biggest complaints, like I think the two big things that stand out to me was early in the game. You just get bombarded. Like you're trying to, if you didn't just go back and play like Miles Morales, like, 2 weeks ago, you just get bombarded with mechanics and stuff. And you're trying to like, I just want to swing around the city for 5 minutes. And you got like 8 people calling you on your cell phone. You're like, just give me a minute. That was like my big thing. I think it didn't help that I was in game chat with you guys when I was starting up the game. I was like, there's so much going on. And then the only other thing too, is like, they do such a good job with the big physics and the big movements. So whether that's combat or swinging through the city, sometimes just being like, I'm on this ledge, I want to jump down right in front of me and like walk over to this box. Like just sometimes like the 5 to 10 foot movement is somehow a huge pain in the ass. Like just like, I want to go down there. It's like, no, I'm going to web sling over there. It's like, no, I just want to walk. I just want to walk on this roof for a second. And they're just like, no, you got to swing to the thing. It's like,
I just want to be human right now. I just want to walk.
I want to be super right now. But those are my only like little gripes. But otherwise, like everything else is so fantastic. It's super fun. Yeah. Probably one of, I think we were talking about before, probably one of the best Marvel stories in the last couple of years, because the Marvel Cinematic Universe has been a bit bleh lately. So this is definitely picking up their game.
Yeah.
Take notes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Disney, go talk to Insomniac, please.
Let them write.
For real.
Daryl,
let's hear it.
I am. Yeah, it's kind of unanimous. I'm also 9.5, and the only half point gone for me is that the only real stealth in this game is with MJ. Like,
Best taser ever.
That's kind of
Didn't she
where
only
I'm
have
at.
like a few-
I missed the kind of like stealthy missions. You have the component with the suit with Miles, but you never really need it or use it. Like,
Never
so
use it.
No, never.
it's not really like an important component. So I was just, that's for me like the only kind of loss in the game is I missed that component from the previous ones with stealth missions. The suits are incredible. The suit that you get after you complete all the stuff with Kraven is like maybe one of the coolest suits I've ever seen as well.
Yeah.
What really for me is the validity of Venom and the symbiote that's put into this game is outstanding. This is the best story written for any Marvel game that I've ever played. This is the best rendition for this franchise. This will be the first one that I replay just to play the story again because it's that damn good. Like, it is so refreshing to play this part and get like the chance to do some of the things you get to do in this game. And I can't wait for the DLC because if there's more of playing as certain things that I got to do in this game, man, let me tell you, I am going to play the shit out of that.
Yeah.
If Daredevil becomes a thing, like I'm gonna lose my shit because that was like it was like Spider-Man and then Daredevil, and so like it's just a dream come true. I'll just quit my job and just be from now on. So
yeah. Sounds good.
Solid plan.
Yeah.
No objections. There's nothing wrong with that logic. I don't think, so.
No, not at all.
No arguments from this group.
I mean, based on how many spider people there are in the Spider-Verse, I mean, I'm sure there's a radioactive spider out there for me somewhere, right? Like it's.
Yeah.
You just gotta find your radioactive spider, Trevor.
Yeah, it's bound to happen.
I've electrocuted myself enough times. I'm still waiting for my superpowers.
I know, me too, Daryl. Owning a home hasn't given me any damn superpowers.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
You guys have definitely seen those videos of those kids that are like, they're like moving like pizza boxes or something, and one falls off the top and they grab it.
Yeah.
And then they're like,
They're
immediately like, is this my origin story? Like,
Yeah.
All right, Jordan, bring us home here.
So I'm kind of sitting right around where everybody else is, like a 9.5 out of 10. The story is a 10 out of 10. The narrative, start to finish, the origin stories for different characters and the way that they introduce different elements, it's a 10 out of 10. I beat this game in a week because I couldn't put it down. It's one of the few games in a long time that I just could not put down. I enjoyed it so much.
I suffered from the same problem.
I ran into some of the same complaints. Like, I wish there was some more stealth options. As fun as the slacklines web in this game is, it's OP and almost to a downside because it means you don't have to like truly stealth any section. And it doesn't seem to matter how low you drop that slack line. People don't notice these dangling humans from the slack line above them. So like that just seemed a bit iffy for me. I do wish Kraven's like faction had some more enemy variety. Like you guys will notice this even as you
sword guys, shield guys,
big guys.
Yeah, you fight
big
like
guys.
You fight like the same 3 or 4 enemies throughout the entire game, and some of them are a pain in the ass. Like the sword person sucks.
The big dudes piss me off because their attack mechanic is perfectly timed. If they hit you once, it's perfectly timed to you getting up. So you just get, it's like Dark Souls. You just get pummeled into the ground. You're like, I'm dead. You change the timing just a hair.
Yeah. And then I don't know about you guys, but this is one of the very few games in a while that I actually ran into bugs.
I remember the glitch.
Jordan got the white cube.
Yeah, so so I got the white tofu cube in one spot. Now, I mean, that's fine. It's just a visual glitch, and it was funny. I took some video clips of me swinging around as a tofu cube. I thought that was funny. But I actually ran into two different spots in the story where they introduce a new attack mechanic where it's like, hold L1 and press this button to do this attack, and it wouldn't let me do the attack. And so I was frozen. Weird. I was frozen with that thing on my screen. Oh. And so I had to restart.
That did happen to me once as well.
Attack function. And that happened to me twice towards the end of the game. So that's just weird because I've never had those kinds of bugs with Insomniac games. So I'm sure it's been patched out by now. But those were kind of annoying. So
my bugs were way funnier than yours. Because mine was I was swinging around and you'd have to take a picture of that one basketball court, and the ball was just dribbling. There was no it was a one-on-one game, but I couldn't see the people, so the basketball was just dribbling by itself and like going into the basket, and I was like, "What in the poltergeist is happening here?" Like,
it's New York. It's Ghostbusters, Daryl. It's just the Ghostbusters issue.
Yeah.
Mysterio.
Yeah. If I didn't run into some of those issues, like for me, like I said, story wise, this is a 10 out of 10, hands down. This will be one of the best stories that anybody will play this year, whether you're a superhero fan or not. Mm-hmm. This is just a very enjoyable story to play.
Yeah. What'd you guys think of the expanded city, like the bigger map?
I didn't even notice it that much. I liked it.
Yeah.
The wingsuit is a huge addition,
and the wind tunnels.
I think.
Yeah.
I think if you didn't have the wingsuit and the tunnels to travel across the water easier, and you had to find ways to swing with your webs, then I think I would be a little bit more bummed out about it. But yeah, the wingsuit, it makes it so easy to traverse.
Yeah.
The only time I used fast travel was at the end of the game when I was trophy hunting. That was it.
When you see that marker and it says like 3,000 whatever, it's like on the other side of the map, and you're like, all right, let's go. Yeah. Like I never. It's not like Fallout or like some other game where I'm just like, here we go. Like I gotta find whatever post.
I gotta slog your way across the map. Yeah.
No,
there's just so much to do in each area too. That's what's nice.
Yeah.
I never felt like I was doing any of those like relay quests where you like talk to this guy, go over there, then come back, and then go there and come back. And it was really like it just had nice flow to like where everything was, and unlocking the new side quests into the like areas. You're frequently going back around the whole city for story content. So I really liked it. I thought it flowed really well.
Now, to not to get too far of a tangent, but speaking of side quests, has everybody done Howard?
No.
Howard the Hobo?
I haven't gotten into it yet.
God damn it.
Say nothing.
That's it. That's all I'm going to say.
All right.
Yeah, they got a couple that hit hard. There's a couple like side quests. I'm like, why is this? Yeah. Why are there so many feelings?
There's two side missions.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's like,
there's two side missions that are very emotional.
Yeah, I think I did them back to back.
That were very unexpected.
Like, what's happening?
This game's
very
so
unexpected.
Sad.
Man,
you're welcome.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna jump in and wrap this up because otherwise we're gonna be talking Spider-Man all night. Obviously, we're gonna do a follow-up session once we're all done here. But first of all, Kane, thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for joining us. It's an absolute pleasure to have other millennials on. And
awesome. I'm locked in. So you guys just back whenever. Yeah, I'm in it now.
If people are looking for your photography, where can they find you?
Instagram at FirstPersonShutter. Yeah. And then you can go to firstpersonshutter.com and all the photos are out there for free.
They're
Feel
awesome.
free to download whatever.
That's dope.
I've tried to get them all out there in like whatever HD, the highest quality I could get it. So no one has to like tag me if they want to post it out there. Like I just feel like technically, I guess it's Insomniac's stuff anyways. So I'm just like, just take it, use it,
Just tag them
post it out there.
Tag them out of respect, though. Because
don't be a
this
dick.
whole episode, if you've seen me,
Put some respect
if you
on
see
the
me
name.
looking like this entire episode, it's because I'm just looking through pages of this stuff, and it's so good.
But if anyone has any like requests or any like things that they want me to like go out there and grab, like feel free to send them my way too. I do my best to do the DMs, like to check my messages, but like I think I've even had to apologize a couple times here. Like I just freaking days go by, and I'm like, when like this is just my life.
You
now.
have a full-time job
And a
and
family,
you're a parent.
Yeah, yeah,
You
kids
hold
and stuff,
no
yeah.
grudge.
Bro, with 3 kids, you're playing zone defense at this point.
Yeah.
It's not
They
man
outnumber you.
anymore.
Like, yes.
Yeah.
Thank God PlayStation has like arrest mode and like can suspend games because like that I wouldn't play games if I couldn't do that. And so but Instagram is where it's at. I also have some videos out on TikTok. I have been attempting to do YouTube. So but like I feel like talking to you guys, I'm like now like back into it now. So I feel like I need to go back there and start doing more YouTube.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Nice.
so that'll be the next frontier.
Amazing.
love it.
Well, once again, thank you so much for being on the show. It was
Good
great.
time.
It's always great. It's great.
Man, likewise. Thank you guys.
I think that episode was good enough.
Good enough.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube for more content. We also invite you to write an email or join us on Discord to talk about anything from our episodes or something else you would like to discuss in the future. Please subscribe to the Good Enough Gaming podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever else you listen to your podcasts. And remember, we might not be great, but we are good enough.